All right, welcome back, you guys, to episode 2 of The Influencer. And so on this show, I interview top business leaders and entrepreneurs and salespeople to help you with actionable content so that after you're done watching this video, you can go back in your business and start crushing it with everything you're going to learn in today's show. So today, I've got MARIAH CRAWFORD. MARIAH, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Hey, thank you. I'm excited. Awesome.
Yeah, so listen, I've been a big fan of yours for a while. You and I both, I think, have built our career on the backbone of for sale by owners, becoming listing agents. And so really quick, before we jump into anything today, take a quick minute, introduce yourself. What market are you in? And tell a little bit about yourself.
All right. My name's MARIAH. I'm a real estate agent in Oregon. I'm out of the Salem, Oregon area. And I got into the business right out of high school when I was 18. I jumped in as a solo agent, and it's been about 4.5 years now. My husband actually just joined me last year, quit his job cold turkey and went full time with me. And now we run a real estate team together. It's just the two of us, and we're just growing every year, and we love it.
I love it. I love it. So MARIAH, what market are you guys in again?
We're in the Salem, Oregon market.
Got it. Got it. How's the market there right now?
Oh, what was that?
How's the market there right now?
You know, it's good. I think it's funny because I'm still cold calling, and when I call for sell by owners, I keep hearing nothing's happening and no one's buying, but that's just so not true. I mean, we're still writing offers for buyers, and we're still going on listing appointments, and I mean, things are still moving. So it hasn't shut down here.
Awesome. Good for you. Well, what I wanted to do, MARIAH, was kind of tell your story about, and I want to talk about real estate prospecting, because I think, I know there's so many agents out there that really know the power of prospecting. Like, they want to do it, but they're so scared. They have so much fear of cold calling or prospecting or working on their sales skills. So I want to kind of walk people through that a little bit. So let me ask you this. When you started in the business, you know, there's 1.5 million ways to grow a real estate agent business, as you know, right? You can prospect, you can door knock, you can send mailers, you can buy leads, and the list goes on and on and on and on. How was it that you decided, I'm going to focus on prospecting and hone in my skill set to build your business that way versus all the other things that you can do out there?
I think for me, a lot of it was my age, because I was so young. I really didn't have referrals coming to me. I mean, right at 18, none of my friends, were buying houses at the time, and none of my friends' parents really trusted me with the biggest transaction of their lives. So I really felt like I had no other option but to go out there and start my business by working with people who didn't know me, and they didn't know how old I was. And so I guess that was really the reason why I did. And before I got my license, I watched a lot of YouTube videos of other agents talking about prospecting, and for sale by owners really just fit what I enjoyed best and what I thought to me made the most sense as far as getting business quickly.
I love it. I love it. So you made a decision, and it makes sense, right? There's a lot of people, I think, that are getting into business that are young, that are in the same boat that you were in, which was just you said it perfectly. That either they don't, their family members don't trust them enough to handle their transaction. So you made a decision. You were going to go after strangers and build your business through listing and selling property. Now, before we get into the tactics and strategies and all that stuff, what is your mindset when you get into the office or when you start prospecting on a new day? Mm-hmm. What do you say to yourself? What are the affirmations and the things that you say to yourself to keep moving forward every day?
It's really easy to get into your head about it and just, overthink it and not want to make the calls. But really, I guess just reminding yourself, like, they don't care about you. Like, they really don't care. We worry about we don't want to call for sale by owner because we're worried what will they think of me, but they don't really think about you at all. So you really don't matter to them, to be honest. And putting that into perspective, that they have so many agents calling them. And also reminding, something I remind myself a lot is, they really need my help. And so I'm not just calling them making a sales call. I'm calling them because I've seen it so many times where the for sale by owner was struggling and they weren't selling on their own, and we were actually able to help them reach the results that they wanted. So really just reminding myself, like, they do need me, and that helps get over that fear of of making the call, and it helps to come from the right place, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love it. And I couldn't agree more. It's the same thing that I help my students with too. This mindset of, I don't want to call this stranger. I don't want to bother them. Well, the mindset is you're coming from a place of contribution. The reason why you're calling is to help somebody. And I think if an agent can have that mindset, they can understand that you're not bothering anybody. And so I ask a simple question all the time, Mariah, and I always say this. I always ask agents, I say, listen, would you do a great job? If someone hired you to sell their house, would you do a great job? And they always say, yes, I would do an awesome job. And I say, well, don't you think it's selfish that you're not calling these people, even though you would do an awesome job? And they're like, wow, that's a great way to look at it. So that's very, very cool. It's a great mindset. Now you're on the phone. What is your approach or your strategies when you're calling expireds for sale by owners? What is like the thing that you focus on when you're making these calls?
We really focus on just building relationship and following up. So I'm not calling the first sale by owner trying to convert them on the phone or get the listing appointment from the first call. I'm calling them and just making that first step to build the relationship. So it's really, for us, it's really all in the follow-up. And my goal is always to be the last agent still following up, or to be the obvious choice once they do decide that they do need our help, because we know statistically they're going to list with someone. So, why not be me? And from my results, I've seen that it works out better for me, at least when I go about it that way, where I'm kind of waiting for them to realize on their own that they need me, instead of trying to convince them, because I don't know, arguing with them just doesn't really work out very well for me. Like, maybe I know other agents do it, it works, but for me, that's just not what I've seen results from.
So that's where you and I are we see it so similar, right? You and I have like almost the same approach. And I think that's what kind of brought us together, is both of our YouTube channels, we speak the same message. We're teaching the same thing. What would you say, Mariah, because you're getting such great results, and I built my business doing the same thing that you're doing, right? It's helped me list 30, 40 FSBOs every year. Yeah. There's a lot of traditional real estate training that goes against what you and I believe, right? They're teaching real estate agents to be high pressure, push the for sale by owner on the first call to list with an agent, to set up that listing appointment. What would you say to somebody that comments below this video and says, no, you got it all wrong. You see, you got to pressure them to list the house now. In your experience, what would you say to that person?
I mean, from personal experience, I see it all the time, where the for sale by owner, when I'm meeting with them, will actually tell me that it is so refreshing to finally be able to meet with an agent who isn't pressuring me, who isn't just trying to sell me, who's actually asking me questions, offering me value, just doing the approach that I do. And I hear it straight from the for sale by owners all the time that it's refreshing. And I also hear it from them sometimes that that's the reason why they listed with me, was because I didn't do what the zillion other agents did, trying to convert them like that.
I love it. And that's exactly what I say too. A lot of agents come to me and they say, well, I was in such and such coaching program, and they told me to do it the exact opposite way. And I try to explain, Mariah, that just to your point, it's like, well, this is what works on the streets. I'm in it every day, living it, having these conversations with FSBOs every single day. And I don't want to take anything away from these big famous, trainers, but a lot of them haven't sold a house in like decades, right? So the consumer is so different now than they were back in the 50s and 60s and 70s. And I think this approach of coming from a place of contribution, coming from a place of relationship, of servant leadership, really works well when it comes to prospecting for listings. Would you agree?
I completely agree with you. Yes.
I love it. Now, let me ask you this. So that's your approach, that's your strategy. What advice would you give an agent who, they've gotten over the fear, they understand the approach? What advice would you give people from a tactical standpoint when it comes to prospecting for listings, following up with for sale by owners and expired listings?
as far as systems go, or
Yeah, yes, systems, approach, follow up. What are your appointments like? If you got a little bit nitty gritty, what are some good takeaways? Someone that's watching this interview could say, "Ooh, that's a good one, Mariah. Thank you for that."
I guess as far as appointments go, one of the things that I really try to focus on is making the appointment about them, because I think a lot of agents get to the appointments and just want to talk about why they're the best agent, or just talk the whole time. And I really just try to make it about the seller and ask them a lot of questions and just be genuinely interested in that. And I think that they can feel a difference if you're genuine and if you're genuinely interested in them versus if you're just there to try to get the listing and you're acting that way, if that makes sense.
I love it. So you go in there, you ask a lot of questions. You are authentic in your curiosity. They can feel that. So it allows you to connect with the for sale by owner, right?
Yes.
And so that makes a ton of sense. Can you walk us through a little bit of like what your follow-up is? And, everyone always asks me that. And my answer is always like, it's very simple. You just follow up, right? So what are you doing from a follow-up standpoint?
I'm calling them, I think, is definitely the most effective, but I'm making calls. And I always get asked how often do you call them, but it's totally different. The way I do it, at least, it's totally different depending on the seller, because some of them are a lot more motivated than others. So I would say generally about once a week, but sometimes a little less and sometimes a little more, depending on their motivation and where they're at with things. And then on top of that, I send them mail. The first thing I send them in the mail is client testimonials from other for sale by owners who have listed with us and were basically just saying things like, I wish we would have listed with them sooner, and that type of thing, because I think reviews are super important. And then after I send them the reviews in the mail, everything else I'm sending them is valuable information that I think might help them, such as tips for buying and selling a home at the same time, or even tips for selling your home on your own. Those are things that I send them. So I'll be sending them about one piece of mail a week on top of the calls, and then periodically texting them as well, just shooting out a text, checking in, seeing how they're doing. And I might even pop by every once in a while. If I'm in the area, I'll make a note, in my schedule, but it's really not super structured the way that I do it. It's just, if I'm in the area, I'll pop by and leave them with a little note or something and say hi, but that's pretty much what we do.
I love it. It's pretty much exactly what we teach. And I love that. That's phenomenal. So when it comes to your business as a whole, can you walk through kind of your lead sources and what pillars of business that you guys are focusing on right now?
So for sale by owners, of course, that's really the first few years. That was pretty much where most of my business came from in general, was for sale by owners. We still work those. When my husband jumped in with me, he started expired. So he pretty much handles all of those and converts quite a few of those, but I don't deal with those personally. And lately we've been getting a lot of people reaching out to list or to buy from Facebook, actually. And we don't buy Facebook leads. This is just, we post a lot on our personal page, and we do videos on Facebook. We post a lot of both personal and business, and really just try to make it so that people feel like they know us. And I think that's, we're really seeing the results of that now, of getting a lot of people reaching out. And I think that it's because they feel like they already know us, so they feel more comfortable reaching out.
That's awesome. And a lot of agents hear that, but I think what I heard you say was it took a little bit of time to build some traction before people started reaching out. Because I think agents will hear, right? People will hear an interview like this and they'll say, well, Mariah, I posted a video on my Facebook and nobody called me. And it's like, well, you got to post video after video, content after content, and build that relationship over time. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I've been posting for 4 years now, and just the last, I'd say about 12 months ago is when we really started to get a good amount of business from Facebook, but it definitely took time. And another thing with Facebook is we post a lot of reviews and testimonials, and I think that's something that definitely, I just a few days ago had a buyer reach out and say that the reason they were reaching out is because they're constantly seeing our reviews, and so they know we do a good job. So I think that's also something that's important, but it does take time.
Very cool. Yeah, I totally would agree. I mean, nothing in this business happens fast. And I think patience is a really good skill set for people to learn, especially in real estate. So what are you guys doing with past clients, centers of influence? What are you guys doing to further these relationships after the transaction?
With past clients, we, well, of course, we give them a closing gift. After that, we send out a Christmas card every year to our past clients. And then I normally send at least 2 or 3 other pieces of mail to our past clients besides the Christmas card, whether it's a newsletter or a market update or a spring card. I send them at least 2 or 3 more other than that. And then periodically calling them and checking in. That's something I don't do enough, but maybe every 6 months or so, I call my past clients and check in, or I'll shoot them a text.
Love it. I love it. Cool. All right. So last question. Okay. This is what the audience, they love when I ask this, and that is this. So you take Mariah, she graduates from high school, knowing everything you know, having your current skill set that you have right now, rewind 4 years, you start in the business all over again. You're a brand new realtor in a brand new market, but you know everything you know now. What does Mariah do differently than what you did 4 years ago?
I think the biggest thing was I would be more prepared. That's something that I've learned over time is my personality is kind of just wing it, but that's not always the best way to go in this. We need to show up to our appointments with, very prepared with all our numbers and everything in line. And that's something that I think that I probably lost. I was really, really good at prospecting, but I probably lost a lot of business my first couple years because I wasn't prepared enough. And that's something that we've really buckled down on and do differently now. That's
so cool. So people that watch this are going to be inspired, right? They can, you guys have done such an awesome job. You built an awesome business. I think you guys continue to build a business. Where can people connect with you? Where can they learn more about you? Where should they go? I know you've got an awesome YouTube channel, so they should definitely go there, but anywhere else they can connect with you?
My YouTube channel, Mariah Christine Realtor is my YouTube channel. And then my Instagram is Mariah K. Crawford. So both of those that's where we can connect.
Perfect. Well, listen, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your life to pour into other real estate agents because, like I said, realtors will watch these videos, right? And surely you did, surely I did when I first got started. And they really help people with the mindset, the skills, the tactics. So thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
No problem. We'll talk soon.